In Venezuela, President Nicolás Maduro registered his candidacy for the July 28th presidential elections. In Indonesia, rescuers recovered the bodies of 3 Rohingya refugees after the shipwreck of a boat near Aceh province. And the United Nations Security Council passed for the first time a resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza during the month of Ramadan. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. On Monday, the president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, registered his candidacy for the presidential elections of July 28, 2024. Accompanied by a mobilization of Venezuelans who support his candidacy, the current president, Nicolás Maduro, presented himself to the authorities of the National Electoral Council. The authorities of the CNE received the Venezuelan head of state and recalled that the elections in Venezuela are one of the most transparent in the world and that they are carried out in compliance with the Constitution. During the registration of the Venezuelan president, the first vice president of the United Socialist Party, Diosdado Cabello, highlighted the importance of the model initiated by Commander Chavez, as well as the commitment of the Venezuelan people to the economic and social recovery and the future of the country.
I want to greet to the citizen Nicolás Maduro Moros, the candidate by the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, from the big political coalition, historical Venezuela. All the political parties of the big patriotic bloc supporting to Nicolás Maduro Moros with the Socialist Party of Venezuela. The country knows that the streets of Venezuela, more than 317,000 assemblies where the people say the reasons why the Nicolás Maduro should be the president. Now it's being approved and making a tribute to the base of our political party to run our brother President Nicolás Maduro before the National Electoral Council.
During his speech at the National Electoral Council, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro thanked all who have supported his candidacy and reiterated that on July 28th, the Venezuelan will choose their rights to the future and to their homeland.
We are choosing on the July 28th our right to the future, our right to existence, our right to the life and independency, and to have a homeland.
In another part of his speech, Maduro stressed the fact that the political coalition he is part of do have a project for the future of the country, a project that has been designed after years of sacrifice and debates with the Venezuelan people.
We have a project for a country. Of course that we had, because we have a plan. It's the result of years of experience from the hardest years and from a wide and permanent consultation and debate with our people.
The Bolivarian president also announced the arrest of 2 members of the far-right opposition party Com Venezuela who were involved in an assassination attempt against him during the rally in support of his presidential candidacy.
Captured today 2 men with weapons that were trying to attempt against my life. They all declared and they form the part of the far-right party, the fascist party in Venezuela. They are in prison and they were captured here in the procession. But they couldn't, and they will not surrender us. With the Holy Trinity in front of us, we always conquer.
On Sunday, the President of Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, was interviewed for the United States program 60 Minutes, where he reviewed topics such as Mexico's relationship with the U.S. government.
President Trump, as well as President Biden, has been very respectful, both of them. We have had differences, but we have put the general interest first, the interest of both people, the people of the United States and the people of Mexico, and we have understood each other, and that is why we are economic and commercial partners.
During the interview, the Mexican president also expressed his position on the actions taken by the governor of Texas after the approval of the law against illegal immigrants in border territory, describing them as acts of opportunism.
The governor of Texas to make propaganda because I think he wants to be a candidate for the vice president of the United States, goes to the Rio Bravo and puts up barbed wire fences and makes a spectacle. That is opportunism. That, with all due respect, is politicking. That's not serious.
Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. In Russia, the Moscow Basmany District Court on Sunday revealed that two detainees suspect of the recent attack on the Crocus City Hall concert hall have pled guilty. The detainees Daletson Mirzoev and Saidakri Rashavalidosa admitted their guilt in the attacks that killed 100 people. By the decision of the Moscow court and in order to satisfy the investigators' request, the suspects were remanded in custody. The court also ordered the arrest of Chad Sindin Faridouni and Muhammad Sobir Faisov, two more suspects in the terrorist attack of March 22nd. The attack on the Moscow concert hall left at least 137 dead and 180 wounded. Russia's central bank on Monday recommended that banks and microfinance organizations write off the debts of borrowers killed in last Friday's attack on the Crocus City Hall concert. The agency noted that lenders should also provide the necessary support to those affected in accordance with their request until full release of obligations under the loan or credit agreements. The shock in Russia continued on Monday following Friday's terrorist attack, which left 137 dead and more than 100 wounded remain in hospitals. Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit is in China to commemorate 20 years of diplomatic relations between the two nations. In this way, Skerrit, accompanied by his wife and other senior government officials, were welcomed by China's Deputy Foreign Minister Hua Chunying. Precisely, Skerrit stated that he intends to hold talks with senior business leaders and attend the Boao Forum for Asia in China's Hainan province. In this way, also Skerrit affirmed that they will sign several cooperation agreements which will further cement their strong bilateral ties. On Sunday, Skerrit and his delegation also visited Huawei, China's leading smartphone and technology developer. On the other hand, Hua Chunying, Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs, in her account of the social network X, highlighted that Dominica is a good friend of trust and a good partner of China in the Caribbean. In this way, the statement pointed out that China-Dominica relations have become a good example of South-South cooperation. In this regard, she further emphasized that the President of China, Xi Jinping, expressed his high appreciation for Prime Minister Skerrit's unwavering commitment to the Dominican-Chinese friendship and assured that both nations seek to develop win-win cooperation and fruitful relations for the greater benefit of their peoples. In Indonesia, rescuers recovered the bodies of 3 Rohingya refugees after the shipwreck of a boat near Aceh province. Local fishermen first spotted the 3 bodies and reported them to local authorities on Saturday. After the rescue of the bodies, the search for survivors from a ship that capsized near Aceh province was ended. On Thursday, fishermen and a team of rescuers had pulled to safety 75 people who remained huddled on the hull of the boat throughout the night. Most were sent to a temporary shelter and others to a local hospital for treatment. The commemoration of the International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery and the Transatlantic Slave Trade on March 25th seeks to combat the racist legacy of the process and promote justice for the victims. Since 2006, the United Nations General Assembly established the Transatlantic Slave Trade Outreach Program, which designated March 25th of each year as the date to raise awareness for this tragic page in history. The United Nations estimates over 13 million Africans as victims of slavery, driven by the racist ideology that these women, men, and children were inferior because of the color of their skin. Despite the resilience shown by enslaved people, the racist legacy of the transatlantic slave trade persists today in prejudices and negative beliefs that are still perpetuated and affect people of African descent around the world. We have a final short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Final short break. Now go away. Welcome back to From the South. Venezuela's National Electoral Council holds the 5th and last day of candidates' registration for the upcoming 2024 presidential elections. We go live with our correspondent Gladys Quesada for the latest updates.
Yes, thanks for the contact, thanks for the time here in teleSUR English, and also for the opportunity to tell to our audience what has been going on today, March 25th in Venezuela. Today, Monday, was the 5th and final day for the nomination and registry process for all the candidates and those who were designed by each one of the political forces and called by the political forces to be the representative and the runner for the presidential elections of July 28th. In this occasion was the date and the turn for the president of the nation and also the aspirant to the re-election, Nicolás Maduro Moros. And I have to tell you, the day was not just about his registry, but also how the people supported this candidacy and this registry. In this occasion, people from all over Venezuela and from all over Caracas came here to downtown Caracas, also to the vicinities of the National Electoral Council to accompany, to support this candidacy and registry of the president. They were gathering here in the main squares of downtown Caracas, as I was saying, to Caracas Square, and they were also accompanying and giving their support since early morning. Around midday, the president came here and arrived to the National Electoral Council and not only submitted his documentation in person to the electoral authorities, he also addressed the nation. It was an interesting statement and speech because he was saying that so far there are 10 candidates, 9 opposition candidates and him representing the Great Patriotic Pole and representing the United Socialist Party of Venezuela. He was saying that he knows that many people that have contrary positions and stances that he has, they want violence in the country, but he's stressing that he wants a peaceful election, a peaceful campaign. He wants that the campaign will be a party and a joyful time for the people. Let's recall that the president has been facing magnitude attempts against his life, but today he was stressing that he is not in a vengeance, he's not resentful because of that, but he wants to be the candidate of the people and once again showcase that he has the legacy and the inheritance of Hugo Rafael Chavez Frias. He was stressing that his party, his political force, is one of continuity with Chavez ideals and one of the continuity with Chavez projects. That in that end, or to that end, he was also announcing a new mission of his government that will be enforced in 15 days. And that is Misión de los Abuelos, which is the mission for the elderly and is a social program by the government to give special attention to the elderly and those who have an advanced age. And also he was recalling that his government issued other missions, other social programs, like Viva Venezuela, Mi Patria Querida, which is a mission to save and preserve all the culture and the folklore of the Venezuelan people, and also the mission to solve the issues of the female population, the women in Venezuela, and the youth, because he was stressing that those are two sectors that have been badly hit because of the sanctions and the blockade and the attacks against the nation, against Venezuela. Also, he was saying that he had the support of about 5 million voters because the grassroots organizations of the United Socialist Party amass over 4.2 million voters, 4.2 million people that not only nominated him, but also will give him the support in these elections. He was also saying that his government faced two really difficult times in Venezuelan history. He was recalling that after the death, the physical disappearance of Hugo Rafael Chavez Frias, he had to take the top post, and that was a difficult time. And he was saying that after 2018 elections, he was also assuming power in a context marked by the sanctions, marked by the cutting of the oil industry in the nation, and the downfall, the pitfall of the economy in Venezuela, which was a really hard time for the people in the nation. But he was saying that his government, his administration was able to navigate those times, and now he will sort the new challenges that his administration is facing. So that was the day afterwards his nomination, he went to address the people back in the square. He went to meet his people, his supporters, and that was today. That was what was happening today in Venezuela, here in Caracas, and that was the paramount events, the highlights of today. So that is the information. Now the National Electoral Council has 5 days to accept or decline the nominations, and afterwards even each one of the nominees has the right to go and appeal the decision of the National Electoral Council. Afterwards also then comes the time for the substitution period, and that means that each one of the parties has the right to find a substitute for their candidate in the case that the candidate cannot move on with the campaign and other events in the electoral schedule. That's the information. Those are the events. Those are maybe the data and the facts of what has been going on in Venezuela. We will have more details in upcoming emissions. And now I'm back to you.
And we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.